Today is Saturday, April 27th, and today we will cover the trades for YieldMax funds TSLY, CONY, NVDY, and MSTY. So, what a bunch of trades, lots of trades. Yeah, and just again, just have market watch up because anything good to talk about. Well, Google reached 2 trillion market cap. Like 7, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, nothing too fantastic. Look at that. AMC is in the news. AMC takes a hit from Hollywood strikes. All right, so anyway, nothing to really talk about in the news. So let's get right to it. So what do we got here? How do you get rid of that? There you go. So yesterday, I did 2 purchases. I bought HCOW and I bought NFDY. NFDY, obviously, you guys are familiar with. Maybe you're not familiar with HCOW, but in summary, it's a much lesser yield, but it's an ETF that invests in, well, it sells calls on an ETF that invests in companies that have high cash flows, companies that basically can increase their dividend over time. So if you haven't checked it out, it may be worth it. I just think it's a good, good diversification to my high risk portfolio. It's also considered high risk in the investment world. It yields, I think, 7 to 8%. I don't want to get too much in the details on that, but it's just in case you guys didn't know what HCOW is and why it's in my portfolio. But it's my least paying, it's the lowest yield, but it's one of my favorites. And I'll talk about it another time. But either way, what else did I do? I sold a call on TSLY, and I sold a call for an expiration date of Friday of next week, $8 call, and I got 20 cents per share, or $20 for 100 shares. I thought that was pretty good. So again, I own 900 TSLY shares, so now I have 600 working for me via calls. I have 300 left over that I could play with for next week. But, more to come on my options video, which will come this weekend. And these are all the calls I just mentioned. But anyway, let's get to the trades. This is why you guys are here, okay? So what do we got? We got Tesla, TSLY. TSLY, what did they do? Well, they closed positions and they opened new ones. And you could see by the BCs, look at the execution price, 5 cents, 5 cents. But wait, what's that right in the middle? 8.75. That can't be good. So obviously, if you see a higher number like that, you can imagine that that's a losing transaction. So let's get to the spreadsheet and see what it looks like. Real quick, the synthetic position, again, they hold 2 synthetic positions, a 175 and a 170, both of which expire May 17th. They did not add to them, so we do not have to talk about them. Now the April tab, this is where all the action happens. So how did Tesla do yesterday? Well, Tesla went down by 1.11%. TSLY went down 0.99%. So not terrible. I mean, especially after the big jump from, days prior. Again, the last 2 days up 12%, up almost 5%. So a drop of 1.11%, not too bad. All right, so now let's look into what they did. First, we'll go to see what they closed, right? So they closed out the all of their positions that obviously expired on Friday. So the top one, the 175, it only cost 5 cents to close. So if you scroll to the right, they made a profit of over $3 million, for those 2 transactions. However, the other half down below, the 162.50, this one cost them $8.75. I mean, damn, $8.75. So look at that, awful. 17.9 million to close that transaction. So those options contracts alone netted a loss of 12.8 million. So that is damaging to our weekly calls. We didn't expect it. When they sold it, to be fair to them, they were 10% out of the money. Because it wasn't. I mean, I really can't complain, because who knew it was going to go up even more than that? But it did, and we got our butts kicked, right? So not only are we sitting here below the synthetic position, but we're also losing money on the weeklies. So this is kind of a tough spot to be in. So TSLY, oof, not that great. I mean, we were doing so good, and then this damaging 875. I feel like I don't know. I feel like they could have got a better price than that, but they paid $875 to close it out. And, Tesla closed at 168. So if you look at that, if they waited to the end of the day, they probably could have paid a little less, $5-6. But either way, they closed it whenever they did, and they paid $875 per share. Again, that's a loss of overall loss, 12.8 million. And if you combine all transactions together for the week, yes, it's still a loss. It's a loss of like 8 or 9 million. So yeah, I wish I could give better news to TSLY shareholders, but it was a rough day. But let's look at the new contracts heading into next week. Again, earnings is behind us now. So let's see what they're doing. Well, these expire May 3rd. All right. So what did they do? They chose 2 strikes again. The majority of the strikes, they chose a 180 strike. Again, this is split up into 2 different pieces, 9,770 contracts and 20,555 contracts with a 180 strike. And guess what? That's 6.96% out of the money. I have to say, I'm still impressed. Usually they would do 2 to 3%. So this is a good move. Well, I think it's just good in general to do, higher than 2 to 3% out of the money. Now, if you look at the other part, 10,790 contracts, this one's a little lower. This is 177.50 strike. That's only 5.47% of the money. However, that's still higher than what we were used to in the past, the recent past. So I can't complain. So they, they're yielding 1.2%, 1.27% for the one and 0.9% for the other. So, and that could bring in what do we got here? 5 million, about 7 million. All right. Outstanding shares did not move. So let's just go through the recap. We have a 30-day IV of 47.26%. We have outstanding shares of 45.3 million. Weekly income, from the calls, from the weekly calls, 13.3 million. Because, it's we got hit. That's why it's down from what it was. That's a distribution now of 29 cents per share, a daily income of 2 cents a day, a daily yield of 0.11%, or if you annualize that, that's 39%. So yeah, obviously took a hit. So sad face for the hit, and then declaration date countdown is this Friday. I thought about it because, there's no point in having the same countdown on all 4. So maybe I'll make this the next estimate, the next earnings call countdown when I have time. It's hard to get to anything, especially like Fridays, forget it. The amount of trades are insane. All right, so let's go to the recap for TSLY. We have synthetic income of 545,000, short call income of 13.3 million, a net income total of 13.8 million. So if we look at everything combined, even with total income, we're only looking at 31 cents per share, short call income of 29 cents per share. I haven't run any numbers yet, but just by looking at this, I would imagine they're going to pay a little more than the 31 cents, I would think. Again, they're going to yield around 50%. So I don't know. I don't have an estimate yet. I will do that video on Sunday, though, so be on the lookout. Hear the birds? Yep, they're here. All right, what do we got? Synthetics, we don't have to talk about. But again, Tesla went up, which is, for the week. Tesla went up, which is great. But we didn't make money on our synthetics, and we didn't make money on the weeklies. So like I said, it's double negative. I'm not trying to be negative, but it's not the outcome we expected. All right, so they have 2 strikes going into next week. Obviously, way too early to talk about anything. So let's just talk about the net asset value. It's 682.8 million. The NAV is 1507, and the trade price is 1505. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see what next week brings. The next one I have a trade is Nvidia or NVDY. If you look, when you look at the intraday trades, again, you can get access to this information on the website. You do not need me. But since you're using me, I'll try to explain my best to make sure it makes sense to you. When you look at the BCs, buy to close. And if you look to the left, those are all Cs, right? Calls. So they did, they closed out their positions that expired yesterday, but they opened one new one. So at first glance, I looked at this, I'm like, why? So let's get into it. Trying not to be a complainer today, but there's a decent amount of things to complain about. All right, so here's their synthetic. This expires May 17th like the others. So again, I'm not going to talk about it since they didn't add or remove from it. So we'll go to the April tab, which essentially has everything. And Nvidia went up 6.18%. NVDY went up 2.3%. So I don't know if you recall the video the day before, but this is what we did not want, right? We did not want it to go up. You can tell by, the gains in NVIDIA, we were capped. So here's what happened. Look at this. Oh my God. So they had 3 different positions, and let's look at the top 2 for now. So right now, those, Nvidia closed at 877.35. Their strikes were 840 and 850 at the top. So they paid $29 and $39 per share to close that. So on the top 2, that's already a loss of $15 million in total. They paid $19.3 million to close it. So that minus the credit, it's a $15 million loss. So that's a tough one to take. NVIDIA, we always call them the GOAT, but this sucked. This sucked yesterday. Now, the reason I'm mentioning the bottom transaction, they did this on April 22nd, okay? Which I believe was the Monday. They had 95 contracts. They sold an 810 strike, which we said at the time, what the heck are you doing? Because it was 1.86% out of the money. And here we are. We got our butts kicked. We had to pay $69 per share to close out that position. Why? Why'd you go 1.86% out of the money? We basically lost $567,000 for stupidity. I don't know. That was just, I know they are the GOAT, but they need, sometimes they need to be put in check because that move cost them a lot of money. I know it's nothing compared to the millions because they lost anyway, but still, you could have cut back a little of that loss. Why go 1% out of the money? But yeah, anyway, Nvidia got whooped yesterday. They got whooped. It's great that it goes up, but it was a rough day. And I know some people are thinking now, okay, but how's the synthetic? Well, they're not above the synthetic yet, so they're not making money on the synthetic yet. So just like TSLY, they're in that spot. They're in the middle, right? They're trying to make money on the weekly calls, but they're not yet making money on the synthetic because they're, so far below it. So it's a lose-lose at this situation. All right, let's look at the calls for next week because we got to move past what happened. They chose, the day before they had a strike of 865. And guess what, guys? Guess what? Let's look. Oh, my God. It was only 4.68% out of the money. So guess what? It's in the money already. 1.41%. It's still open. So again, I'm not going to harp on that. Let's just look at the new one. This one is the majority of the position, the majority of the holding. 5,065 contracts, 920 strike. 4.86% out of the money. That's a little low for me, especially considering how bad we got whooped last week. But that yields 1.18%, and that could credit us it did credit us 5.2 million, but we'll see when all's said and done. All right. Outstanding shares did not move. Either it didn't move or they didn't update them. But either way, here's the recap on the weekly call information. Well, the 30-day IV, pretty respectable, 62.55%. Outstanding shares, 16,975,000. Total income, 2.4 million. That's, oh wait, yeah, no, sorry. Total income is a loss now. It's a loss of 2.4 million. So actually, yeah, these weeklies, because if the running total is not always 100% accurate because it sometimes it picks up stuff from the prior month. So you have to look at the income from on the top, which is cell M1 and N1. So we're at a loss of 2.4 million now on the weekly calls. So I can't really go any further because who cares if we're yielding, who wants the numbers if we're yielding negative? All right, so weekly calls are out. Yeah, again, deck date coming up. What timing, man? Oof. And here's the GOAT, the Nvidia fund manager, just in shock. He went from like doing perfect to just getting his butt whooped. He's joining the TSLY fund manager. He's gonna cry all weekend. All right, so what do we look like for the month though? Well, we do have synthetic income for the month, 6.5 million worth. That short call loss, 2.4 million, obviously sucks, but the total net income is 4 million. So if we look at total income alone, we're looking at 24 cents per share. And historically, Nvidia pays much more than that. So they're going to have to dig into the NAV to pay us this month. That is for sure. My estimate is definitely going to be above 24 cents. I don't have to look at anything to tell you that. So, which, that's what we do not want, obviously. Synthetic income on the top, in the pink, that's the put. Orange, we don't have to talk about that, but, just informational. The blue, these are the calls heading into next week. But again, we'll talk about them as we get closer to the Friday. But NVIDIA's net asset value is 437.6 million. Their NAV is 25.78. And the trade price is 25.84. So that's NVIDIA. And we went 2 for 2 on sucking on bad weeks. So, let's see what the next one brings. I honestly forget because I've updated these. I don't know. It took me like 4 hours to update these in between dealing with my wild children yesterday. But so let's see. This is CONY here. What do they got? A lot of BCs. So if you see BCs, obviously that's buy to close. So they closed out weekly calls from last week. And then on the bottom, what is this? One call? Like one? One? Come on, man. All right, let's take a look. Not CONY. Come on. CONY's got to do good. Don't let us down, CONY, right? All right, so they did not add to the synthetic. So, and again, their synthetic also expires May 17th. And yeah, I didn't talk about Nvidia earnings. I think Nvidia earnings is the end of the month, so luckily at least we don't have to worry about that. But as far as coin earnings, that's next week. Thursday is May 2nd. So all of these calls will expire after that. Keep that in mind. All right. All right. What do we got? How did Coin do yesterday? Well, Coin did good. Coin went up 5.68%. How did CONY do? Pretty damn good. It went up 4.45%. Okay, how did they do on their weekly calls? Did they win at least? Well, guess what? They did. Look at these close prices, We're talking chump change here. 2 cents, all right. 37 cents, okay. 59 cents, yep. 91 cents, all right. Guess what? CONY may be the GOAT now. CONY may be the GOAT. Let's see what they profited for this week. Maybe temporary goat. But overall, if you look at the numbers, we're looking around 6 million or so. So that's a profit of 6 million for this past week. So good job, CONY fund manager. The percent out of the monies, that was good, right? 60%, 11%, 10%. That was the starting point, percent out of the money. And they ended essentially like almost when they closed it, like let's see where coin closed. Coin closed at 236. 236. And guess what? Oh man, yeah, they must have closed it early. They had good timing with that. All right, so let's look into next week. What are they doing? Next week is earnings, all right? May 3rd falls after May 2nd, obviously. So you're selling calls through earnings. Selling calls through earnings brings in good premium, okay? So you can go way out of the money. All right, what they do though? They chose 3 strikes, okay? But let's look at this massive one. There's 17,990 contracts. This is by far the biggest position. 255 strike. What? 7.9% out of the money? Are you freaking kidding me? Over earnings? What? You do double digits last week, and the week through earnings, 7.9%? I mean, what's going on? There is earnings next week, right? I mean, what's going on? I don't know. If I check here, does it tell you? If I go to coin, let's see, what do we got? Dun-dun-dun. I don't see anything. Although it blocks everything because of stupid pop-ups. But no, I did check the there's a thing. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, see? Coinbase. Yeah, it's Thursday after hours. Okay. So, that being said, why? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. At least it yields, 2.37%. So there's that. All right, let's look at the other positions. Well, the 310 contracts, that was the day before, but that's also at 255 strike, all right? And that was 13% out of the money at the time. So at that time, okay, maybe that's okay. The other position for yesterday, though, 365 contracts, even lower. Wait a second. I'm sorry, that was the day before. Yeah, okay. So the 310 and the 365, those were the 2 days prior where they chose, because I was going to say that's even lower strike. The 250 is already 6.85% out of the money. So yesterday alone, they only did the 255, and that's 7.9% out of the money. So, oh my God. So yeah, leading into next week, they have basically 2 strikes, the 255, which is 7.9% out of the money, and the 250, which is 6.85% out of the money. And coin has earnings. So I am scared to even look. So in bet, you want good earnings, but at the same time, now looking at this as a CONY holder, you don't want fantastic earnings because then we're going to lose money on the calls. All right, outstanding shares, did they go up? No, they did not, which is unusual for CONY, unless they didn't update it. All right, 30-day IV, 92%. I would think that'd go above 100%, by next week. Outstanding shares, 17,225,000. Total net income from the weekly calls, 31.4 million. So they're making money. Let's not call them out when they're making money, right? That's a distribution of $1.83 from the weekly calls alone. All right. Daily income 10 cents a day. Daily yield 0.4% and an annualized yield of 145%. That's good. Good numbers. My mind is blown. That's me. I'm sorry, but my mind is blown that they're going single digits over earnings. I don't get it, but whatever. All right, synthetic income for April. Look at that. 21.1 million. Short call income, 31 million. Total net income, 52 million. God Damn, CONY rules. But look at this. Total income per share, 305. Short call income, $1.83. That short call income, by the way, can be wiped out if earnings does fantastic. So let's not get too excited. Got the, sorry, losing my voice now. We got the declaration coming up. Obviously, I have to make a prediction now based on this simple data. I'll use some other things, obviously, but, I'm not going to go in the $2 range. CONY's not paying $2 in my eyes. Outstanding holdings, again, nothing to talk about. I'm not going to talk about cash and treasuries unless I see something odd. Like if cash is negative, I'll talk about that. But yeah, like I did drop it, which, by the way, thank you guys for the feedback on that. It does save me time in the morning. Net asset value, 437.7 million. The NAV is 25.41 and the trade price is 25.37. Okay, so that was CONY. So CONY, I think, we're 1 for 3 so far in wins. However, I'm concerned for CONY going into next week. I don't know if you guys are. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm overreacting. All right, let's take a look at Misty. Oh my God, see? I take these screen prints at the end of the day and each one is bigger than the next. I'm like, oh, good Lord. So the top 3, typically what we see, buy call, sell put, that's adding to the synthetic. So guess what? People are buying into Misty and then they sold those contracts right away, call into next week. And then a bunch of BCs, 3 BCs, they closed out the positions. Looking at the prices, looks like they won. And by the way, on the very bottom, that's the call, one call for next week. Let's take a look though, okay? Okay. Misty has one synthetic position that expires May 17th, and their price is above it. So they're actually making money on the synthetic, so no worries from them on the synthetic. Let's see how Mr. did yesterday. Mr. went up 3.38%. Misty went up 2.02%. So overall, pretty good day. All right, so they closed out all their contracts, right? How'd they do? Well, they did good. They won by a long shot. So let's take a look at total income here. They made about, 2.1 million, which is fantastic. So good job, Misty. Good job, Misty. All right, guess what? Guess who else has earnings next week? I think Monday, right? Assuming they didn't change it. Yeah, Monday. Monday should be April 29th. So, guess they're selling calls as well through earnings. All right, so they had calls from the other day on the 24th and the 25th, and then they had 2 calls from yesterday. So let's take a look at what they did. They chose on the Wednesday, they chose a 1430 strike at the time, 12.98% out of the money. It's now 11% out of the money. On the Thursday, they chose a 1380 strike at the time, 11% out of the money. Now it's 7% out of the money. And yesterday, what did they do? They chose a 1410 strike, which is 9% out of the money, and a 1380 strike, which is 7% out of the money. So their biggest position is the 1380. Their biggest position is the low strike. So again, am I missing something? Is crypto not going to do well next week? Single digit out of the money for Misty too? I don't know, man. Unless I messed up some of my numbers. Of course, that's never, off the plate here. That's always that's always possible. Especially on Fridays. But anyway, yeah, I don't get it. If I would go at least double digits over earnings. But who knows? Maybe the thinking is earnings is not going to be that great, right? Or maybe Mr. is just so, overvalued in most people's eyes that they don't think, regardless of what they're going to say on earnings, is going to turn out to be some massive buy, people just buying into it. I don't know. We'll see. 420, they did have outstanding shares, by the way. they had an increase. So we know, I have to copy this right down below too. There's the birds. Yeah, so we have what, 50,000 increase in outstanding shares. That's a 1.64% increase. All right, here's the recap on Misty. 116% 30-day IV. Outstanding shares 3.1 million. Total income from the weekly calls 9 million. That's a distribution of 292, a daily income of 16 cents, a daily yield of 0.5%, and if you annualize that, that's 183%. You know, they won, they did good. I really wanted to give a happy face, but again, maybe I'm just grouchy today, but over earnings, I just, too tight. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. So that's my grouchy face. All right, let's go to April. How'd they do? Well, they're synthetic. You know, they lost money. Nothing more to say. So let's just look at the short call income. $9 million. That's pretty damn good. So if you look at short call income per share, that would come to $2.92. I have to make an estimate for Sunday, like I mentioned. So what is Misty, right? What is Misty gonna pay? Well, considering how much they lost on the synthetic, don't expect $3. They're not gonna pay more than what they made. But again, this is just my opinion, by the way. You know, I have no idea what they're gonna pay. I just plug numbers into a sheet and I make guesses, all right? So don't get too angry if I'm wrong. But anyway, the actual estimates will come out later. But judging, you know, on this data here, you know, they just lost too much money overall. So I'm thinking low $2 range. Again, I have to look at the numbers. I don't even know what that would yield, but I'll get to it. All right, so holdings, we're not going to talk about synthetics. We're not going to talk about calls. Way too early for that. But look at this, net asset value. It's almost 100 million. It's 99.7 million. So I would imagine Monday, we're going to hit that 100 million mark. All right, that's a NAV of 32.19 or a trade price of 32.29. So yeah, that's it. That's all of them. So what do you guys think? Is that good stuff? Is that awful? Is that brutal? I don't know. Let me know. Which, by the way, guys, as always, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy hitting record on a phone and talking in my garage as the birds chirp away. So please do your own research. Obviously, the whole point of this channel is to share my journey on how I'm going to retire on dividends. But obviously, I do daily videos on some of the trades that YieldMax, you know, these high yielders and YieldMax do to, you know, not only help myself, but hopefully help you guys understand how these funds make money. You know, it's important because a lot of people just say, all right, YieldMax is scam. All right, that's pretty lazy. That's the laziest way out. YieldMax is a scam. Okay, how? How is it a scam? So the whole point of my video is to show you, no, YieldMax does this. This is how they make money, and this is how they pay you. Sometimes they make more than what they pay. Sometimes they make less, okay? That's as simple as that. But anyway, that's my daily videos, you know, kind of have been my thing. So obviously, you know, I always say I'm sharing my journey to retire on dividends. But a lot of what I do is share some of the trades on YieldMax. And yes, I'm going to do other content when I can, believe me. But this weekend, you can expect, today, you can expect the options trading and swing trading update. That should be today. Tomorrow, you can expect the Defiance weekly update. And also after that, you can expect the YieldMax estimates. But that's 4 videos. So that's all I got for the week. And then I know I have to do a review on the new YBIT fund. And people said just do a comparison to the other ones that are kind of similar to it. So I think that's a good idea. So I do plan on doing that. I also still have to do the review of the Fidelity Fund, but I don't know when, to be honest. So hopefully soon. By the way, guys, we did not hit 700 likes yesterday, which is okay. We still got like 600 something. So thank you very much for continuing to hit the like button. I'm no longer, I'm not going to say no longer, but I'm not going to mention it in the beginning because I think it's annoying. I'll do it periodically if I see the likes are down. But I wait to the end of the video because, if you liked the video, you would still be listening. So if you're still listening, then obviously there's a reason to like it. Or maybe people just don't have time to make it this far or hear me just yap about who knows what. But anyway, if you did like this video, please make sure to always hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated as it helps the video, rank. Is that what they say? Or, if you have any questions, concerns, leave it in the comments below. Obviously, what you see on the page right now, these are the earnings for next week. A lot of big names. Monday, what do we got? Domino's, SoFi, who else? Paramount. Tuesday, we got PayPal, PP, Amazon, 3M. Man, 3M, what's going on with them? McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Starbucks. Yeah, Tuesday's a big day. That could move the market for sure. And then we got Wednesday, CVS. I don't know about them. MasterCard, Kraft Heinz, Pfizer, Qualcomm. A lot of big ones. Etsy. I wouldn't buy them. How are they doing? Who knows? All right, what else we got? Peloton on Thursday. How are they in business anymore? To me, that was like a COVID thing. I mean, who would spend all this money on a bike to play bike with other people? Just go outside. Anyway, Moderna, Wayfair, Cigna on Thursday. Apple, that'll move the market. Coinbase, oh yeah. Get ready. DraftKings, all right. We need a DraftKings one, by the way. We should have a DraftKings YieldMax fund. I bet you we'll have one soon. All right, Friday, Hershey. I do like Hershey Park. And no one else worth mentioning. So that's it. That's the update for the funds. That's the update for the earnings. And that was my opinion on everything. So I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I wasn't too grouchy. But again, sometimes they do really good and I praise them. And sometimes they make stupid decisions and I have to give my opinion. That's the whole point of this, right? I'm not just like a robot typing in numbers saying, No, I have to be emotional too, right? Even though, technically, I'm always going to be invested in all of them because YieldMax, I'm growing to be probably one of my biggest positions because I'm more comfortable owning YieldMax than most of the individual underlyings. A lot of the individual underlyings do very well. But overall, buying YieldMax to me is just easier, safer in general. So I always have skin in the game technically with a lot of these funds. So I want them all to do well. All right. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. Again, I told you what other content I'm having out. Obviously, if you made it this far, I guess we could say, go Angels. My son has a baseball game early this morning. Got to get ready. Got to get there soon. Because obviously I coach it, helped him coach. Right now we're 4-1. We're doing pretty damn good. It's a big change from last year. It's all kid pitch. So it's quite challenging for me as well. And my son, obviously he's playing with older kids, but it's good though. It's good for him. But anyway, the key word today is, go Angels. Because obviously that's the team he's on. So anyway, guys, I got to go. And thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Later.